Welcome to Sports Buds Hockey Podcast, where two friends come together to discuss all things hockey and where everyone's opinion is appreciated. Please welcome your hosts, Merrick and Collin Simpson.
Hello and welcome to Sports Buds Hockey Podcast. This is Season 3, Episode 26. My name is Merrick and with me as always, my buddy Collin Simpson. How are we doing tonight, Simps?
Doing great, Mav. Friday night, week's over, long week of work done. Time to settle in and watch some hockey.
That's right. And what do we get to watch? We'll get to watch a fantastic Oilers home game with them in the rare position of being up 2-0 on Vegas. What a turn of events. What a change from what everybody expected in this series. But, it didn't come without some controversy, without some calls, without a little bit of Edmonton's thing this year, which is just making sure everybody's blood pressure goes way up before anything happens.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is the first game of the playoffs so far for the Oilers that I've actually missed. So I had to go watch a lot of different highlights and pick up a lot of different podcasts that were talking about the game and kind of get some more insight into what happened. So obviously, I did catch some parts of it. Looked like power play was important. I didn't see Oilers if they got many, but I did see Olofsson get a couple on the power play. So that really helped the Golden Knights out. But it's more of the same. You know, you leave the Oilers sticking around at any given time, or I think they gave up a lead in this one, didn't they? I think that's what I heard.
Who, Vegas?
No, Oilers. Were they up?
Yeah, they were up by 2, actually.
Yeah, so a bit of a difference for them. Usually they're behind going into these thirds, but this time they're up. And then, Vegas got back in it. Obviously, they're a good team. Yep. But then, perseverance and, win it in the end in overtime with your two superstars.
Well, that's it. I mean, it's kind of nice to have that, right? It's kind of that ace in your pocket all the time, right? To make sure. So, and the thing is, though, with the last couple of games, McDavid had a couple of points in the first game, but was not a dominant force, but did well. The Draisaitl and McDavid overtime goal was the first points for either of them in the game, right? So, I mean, that's the fifth goal in a game. When do you ever think that Edmonton's going to win a game 5-4 and you're going to get one assist and one goal from McDavid and Draisaitl?
Yeah, not usually. You usually expect to see at least 3 points each in scenarios like that. That does mean that the depth contributions are still happening, especially when you're getting these higher games. Because, yeah, exactly that. If you're going to say to me, those guys are down to 1 point, if you're going to say the other team got 4 goals, they probably lost 4-1.
Yeah.
So the fact that they're able to stay in these, and then, they did get their point when they needed to, and that's when it usually happens in those type of situations where you make one mistake or give up one opportunity, and the two best players in the ice are the ones touching the puck back and forth. It's usually going to be in the back of the net 9 times out of 10.
Well, that's it. I mean, it was quite the overtime, but we'll just do a quick recap. So Edmonton went down early to not an overtime goal, to a power play goal. Olofsson scored. So I believe this makes the 6th consecutive game where they had to come back from being down in the game. So I think that's a new record. Nobody's ever done that before. So they did come back from that. They ended up going up all the way to 3-1 and 3-2. No, sorry. Yeah, it was 3-2 going into the third period. They scored one fairly early and went up 4-2. And then Vegas came back and tied the game up. Another power play goal by Olofsson. And then a shot, just a nice shot from Pietrangelo out at the point and just kind of seeing eye all the way to the end and got in there. Obviously, then you got to overtime and it was wide open. I mean, they might as well have been playing 3-on-3. There was some chances at both ends, all kinds of things happening. There was a couple of just massive giveaways. Pietrangelo just fanned on a shot straight to Hyman, who ripped it upstairs but off the crossbar. Came back, another chance. Back the other way, another chance. Then a breakaway at one end for Vegas. It was stopped. It was chances everywhere like crazy. Then at one point, Bouchard, surprisingly, bobbled it at the blue line. And they chased him back towards their end. He rang it around, all the way around. Perry was on the boards, and the defenseman pinched in to try to get Perry, who just kind of chipped it off of himself over to McDavid, kind of in open space. He was coming with speed. He blew past Jack Eichel and then ripped it over to Draisaitl to finish it. So McDavid also caught a pass up front and banged it off the post as well in overtime. So it was definitely exciting. You were kind of waiting, and then when you got a couple of posts like that, you start to think maybe it's not their night. They're just not going to get one to go in. And even Draisaitl's at first looked like it went off the post. It went off the back of the net so hard and came out. You almost thought it hit the post as well.
Yeah, and there's nothing you can do as a goaltender in that situation.
Oh no,
You've got Connor McDavid coming in. You have to play him. Yeah, is there most likely going to be a pass to Draisaitl? Absolutely. And you could see Adin Hill kind of got ready to slide over, but you can't cheat enough.
no.
Unfortunately, you can't cheat enough because he'll just snipe you on the short side if you don't. And so the play is done and it's over. So,
or he'll just cut. Yeah, he'll just cut and have the whole net wide open, right? Like, yeah, it's there's no winning for Adin Hill on that play. The defenseman tried to play it well, but it was a good pass and it was over. The big controversy, I think, came from two things. There was a 5-minute penalty on Nicholas Waugh. He cross-checked Frederick in the face. And so I believe he's getting a hearing for it as well. So there is probably going to be extra discipline involved in this, at least a couple games. And then there was a missed call or just a incident. Arvidsson was kind of tied up with McNabb right as they were coming to the end boards. And it looked like Arvidsson kind of got his stick in there. I mean, they called it a can opener maybe, but yeah, definitely they got mixed up a little bit, and it looked like his foot kind of shot out, and he piled into the boards pretty hard on his shoulders. So hopefully we'll see him back. I don't think he returned during the game or anything like that, straight to the dressing room. So he was definitely, shoulder was in rough shape. So we'll see what that looks like for him.
yeah, obviously with the first one, the 5-minute major, I think there's controversy in the sense of only that, any penalty in overtime is usually got to be a pretty good penalty. A major in overtime usually ends the game. No, now they didn't score on that major, but it usually means you're handing one team the game. So it's a tough call to make as an official because you might as well grab the puck and throw it in the net. But the fact that there's a hearing as well tells you that it's a deserved penalty. It wasn't one of those ones that are like, well, should have been a call, should have been a major. Well, no, that's literally going for a hearing. So
Remember, Simps, the way the rules are laid out, if they call it a major, they can review the penalty, right? That's based on when Vegas played San Jose, and it was a blown call, really, but they gave them a major, and they ended up getting 3 goals on it and tying the game and winning the series. But that's why they do that, because they could have got back over it and went, no, it was incidental contact, like he was bleeding, so you're kind of a 4 almost for sure. But is it a game? Is it, was it intent and whatever? And it looked like it was. So, yeah, they got the 5 in a game. So from that you call the major first so that you have the ability to review it. And then they could have taken it all the way back to 2 if they wanted, right?
And I believe actually you can do the same thing with a double minor. Because in one of these games earlier in the playoffs, they called the double minor and they didn't know if he was actually bleeding and they were looking at it still. But they said that they called the double because it allows them. So it must be like you can go to the highest level of what a penalty might be and it can dial it back, but you can't really go the opposite direction. If you call something less, you can't then add on top, I guess. Must be just in order to do a replay, in order to have that
for
happen.
them to go look and be able to make that call.
So, but with this scenario, they held up the major. They've got a hearing. Done deal. Now for the Arvidsson one, for me, definitely a penalty. There's no doubt about it. However, like again, this is where we play the game of this is the playoffs. How many other penalties could have happened? But I definitely think they have the right to be upset about that. He definitely takes his skate out with his stick. It wasn't really a can opener. He kind of gets his stick right on the blade and puts him down and out. Any other time, that's an easy trip. And they have called that quite a bit of times in the playoffs.
Yeah. Well, you can see his skate because of it. You can see his skate kind of chatter a bit, and then he piles forward.
So it's definitely there. The only reason I guess I'm surprised they didn't call it is it was just after Edmonton had a 5-minute. You know what I mean? Like that's a call. Maybe it doesn't happen in a great end-to-end game. It looks like it's going to be won by an amazing goal. There's been no penalties already.
Nothing's happened. Yeah.
So you don't want to call one, right? But the fact that you just gave Edmonton a 5-minute and a deserved one, but still gave them a 5-minute, and it was a penalty the other direction, and I do believe they are hard done by that. But you've got to get over it, and you got to still win the games. Right?
Well, that's it.
It's not like it put you down a guy and you got scored on by the power play. You still had the same amount of people on the ice when you got scored on. So, or was it on the same play? I didn't know that. Was it like that?
No, I believe it was. I believe it was the play was dead, but it was right after. I think.
Yeah.
I think the play died before they scored a goal, but I'm not.
So especially.
Yeah. No. They blew it. They blew it down for sure because he was down.
Okay, so as long
So
as it's
no
that, then I
call,
don't.
no
If it was
call, but the
during the
whistle
play
went.
that they went back the other way and scored, then I'd be like, okay, that
Yeah.
is brutal. That has to be
No,
talked about.
it was skating back towards Vegas's end,
Yeah.
and then that happened, and he stayed down. So the play carried out
Oh,
of
the
the
whistled out
zone,
of there. Yeah.
and then they whistled it down because he was down. He
Correct.
ended up getting up and skating off,
So,
but no, that was
so
definitely not the
again,
same play.
controversy. Obviously, was it a penalty? Yes. If the other one isn't there, probably not called. Maybe it is. I know it's been called quite a bit. So a lot of tripping so far in this playoffs.
Mhm.
So it's not unheard of. But the fact is, it's still 2-0. Doesn't matter what we talk about, or hindsight's 2020. It's just you
Games
got to
in the
move
books.
forward, and you got to win some road games now. If you're Vegas, and if you're Edmonton, you just continue to keep doing what you're doing and ignore all the controversy and just go back out on the ice and keep the exact same game plan you've done for about 5 games in a row.
Yeah. 6 games, Sims. 6 games.
Well, no, I know how many the one in a row, but they've kind of been on a roll since then.
Oh,
I don't
yeah,
know if
for
the
sure.
first one was a
No,
roll.
and you know what? I want to bring that up. We keep seeing stuff. There's, stories about the Kings, and now they're getting rid of, they got rid of Rob Blake. They fired their GM. Realistically, they fired their GM because they can't beat the Oilers, right? I mean, you have to say they cannot do what they need to do to move forward. So they moved forward from Rob Blake and try to do something different. There's a lot of talk about how the call from Jim Hiller to challenge that goal, right? The one that tied it up, to challenge the goal, and obviously they immediately scored on the power play, took the lead, won the game, went from there. I feel like there's more emphasis put on his decision to do that. And I think that, and I'm not here to defend Jim Hiller, but I think in the end, I think it's so overblown that people want to say that that's what turned the series and that's why the Oilers won, because they screwed it up so bad and everything else. The fact is, for already 15 to 20 minutes, the Oilers had all the play. They've been dominating the play, the shots, the third period, like they'd been absolutely coming at him the whole time. To think that even if they score that goal and he lets them have it, doesn't challenge, that they're just going to stop. Oh, they got their goal, they're tied, now they're not going to keep pushing. Of course they're going to keep pushing, and they're going to push through the rest of the period and into overtime if needed. They're dominating the play. They've got every right and every expectation that they will still win that game. Now, for his team, and the reason he goes for it is because if he gets that goal off the board, all they got to do is survive that 5 minutes. Survive that, whatever it was, 4 and change, 3 and change, 5 and change, whatever it was, that 5 or so minutes. They just have to survive that more, and they get a 4-3 win, 4-3 win and a 3-0 series lead. So the ability to give up a possible power play that hadn't been firing on all cylinders, but you give up that possibility of a power play to get that goal off the board, and now you're 5 minutes away from a 3-0 lead. I think Edmonton wins that game regardless of that coach's decision. I think that they're going to keep pushing the end of that game and try to score in regulation. But if not, if they can keep that momentum going that they'd already developed, I think they're likely to score in overtime as well. So I think their odds are going to win that game either way. But I think this idea that just because he called it, he gave away the series, and they'd already started to change that. And I think they would have won that game and changed the series anyway. I don't think that had that big of a reference. I wouldn't call that the series changer, and that ended it and everything else.
Well, no, but if you were to pick one, it absolutely is. If you were to say what one moment, because you could talk about how the Oilers started to get better, but that's not one moment, right? So when people are looking for a moment, when they say game changing or series changing, there's a moment you want to pick. The moment was that moment. And I get what you're saying. Well, maybe the Oilers were playing well. That doesn't matter. The fact is, the game was where it was. And even if the Oilers aren't firing on all cylinders, the fact is you're talking about a power play that can be upwards of 45%.
Yeah.
So you're flipping a coin that they're going to probably score on you if you get it wrong. And number two, and this is where
but they weren't at that point, right? At that point, I think they hadn't scored a power play. I think they had one power play goal.
Doesn't matter. Take over the last 4 years, they're at 40%. So just because you're on a 3-game stretch, guess what? You've had 3-game stretches before throughout the year, and you still end up at 40%.
Yeah.
So you have to take that as your percentage.
Yeah.
Number two, the fact is, there was no chance of that being called differently. That's the key here. Merrick, if we were sitting there and there's 10,000 people looking at it one way and saying, oh, definitely called off, and 10,000 people saying, oh, no, not called off, I get it. Then you could defend Jim Hiller and say, you know what? You had to go for it because it was so close. There's nobody I know on the planet that thought that was ever going to get overturned.
Yeah.
So that's why this is a big gaffe. Now,
Yeah.
again, I'm not saying LA's going to win. They looked horrible. Not because of that play. They looked horrible because they were old and tired.
Yeah.
So
And that was game 3.
So do I think it still could have went the other way? But I still believe that Hiller, in my opinion, if I'm above him, he's gone from my team.
Yeah.
And it's not just the call. It's because of the call he made, he looked like he had no confidence in his team in 5-on-5. Right? You want to keep it when you play the Edmonton Oilers. You want to stay as much 5-on-5 hockey as humanly possible. Even knowing LA was having a great go with the power play, doesn't matter. That's not how you beat that type of team. The more 5-on-5 you can play them in, the better chance you have to get out of a 7-game series. So I agree. Like, is it going to be overblown? For sure. And I believe it's because people are going to want to find a one moment. If you're an LA fan or anybody like that and trying to dissect that, the way LA came out in the beginning of the series. But for me, it wasn't that play that turned them to be old and slow.
Yeah.
They were going to be that no matter what.
They were going to get there.
But I think it was just a brutal call by him. And it is time to mix that whole LA team up a little. So I think coach, GM, whatever you need to do.
Yeah, GM's already gone. So
I think the coach will be next. I think the new GM will come in and get rid of Hiller. Yeah. And then they'll readdress some stuff and go, okay, where are we at? What's our identity? Who we keeping? Are these old guys time for them to move on?
Latest rumor I heard actually today was Kenny Holland might be in the mix for that. Former Edmonton GM. Why he would come out of retirement to go there, I have no idea.
It's LA. You're telling me you're not going to go to a Florida or an LA as a coach, and that's your lifestyle? Sorry, do it in a heartbeat.
I think at this point he's what is he doing? I think he was doing something consultant work for the league. He's probably making a fortune right now, working wherever he feels like, doing whatever he feels like, and doing that. Why come back to that?
Yeah, but you don't. It's in your blood, man.
He just retired. It's not like they fired him.
No, but it's in.
He got a 5-year contract. He said, "I'm done."
Love that competitive nature as a person who's been doing this for so long. It's not just about the money. There's other ways to make money for these guys, like you said, consulting and stuff like that. It's about that. It's about going to LA. That's a city that can get on board with hockey when it's doing well.
Oh yeah.
And so you get to do that, and then when you step out of the arena, not into -40, it doesn't suck. So there's a reason why every players are going to these type of locations. Well, guess what? Coaches feel the same way. They like to go work on their golf game as they are more or less retired and getting to run a hockey team. So definitely could see it happening. There's gonna be some good GM will end up down there for sure.
Yeah.
And I think they have the makings of a good team. I think they gotta not overthink losing to the Oilers, because if the Oilers go and win the cup this year, it means the team that beat them before is the team that went to the cup, and then the team that won the cup. I don't think you need to blow it all up when you did okay against them. Yes, you lost.
Yeah.
But guess what? So did every other team except for the team that won the cup.
Yeah. Well, that's it, right? I mean, so we're optimistic that they can say they lost to the Stanley Cup champs by the end of this playoff season. That's the hope.
So we got it tomorrow night, game 3?
Yep, Saturday night, game 3. We've got, I think everything should be the same. Obviously, I think you're going to find a suspension in there for Waugh. I don't think, I believe I've read already that Arvidsson isn't supplementary. There's no follow-up for him. Like you said, probably could have been a tripping call and whatever else. And then we don't have any update on McNabb yet either, I don't think. So we'll see what that looks like and see if he blew up a shoulder or whatever. I think it looked very similar to something I did a few years back. And yeah, I had surgery and everything to get it fixed up. So I'm sure that it could be something similar to that as well. In the rest around of the league, we'll talk about Winnipeg. They played their first game with Dallas. They did okay. Nice tight checking one in this. One thing I heard them talk about afterwards was having a bit more time. The Blues are a real pressure team, and Dallas is a little bit more laid back. But Dallas did take the win, 3-2. Mikko Rantanen, they're talking about the second coming of Gretzky, and now it's kind of crazy. He's had lots of points the last couple games, but I don't know. He's not he's doing okay, and he's definitely getting his goals, but they were not impressive goals to me. One was okay, but the other two were just kind of there. So I don't think he's dominating the way they're talking about. So I still think Winnipeg's going to take this series in 7.
Yeah, well, I know I picked the Stars, and the reason I picked the Stars is until we see Vezina Hellebuyck, then I'm gonna favor the team with more, experience, talent, and still a good goalie. And we got 875 Connor Hellebuyck. That's not gonna do it in this. Now I get 2 saves later because it's not a ton of shots, raises that up quickly. But the fact is, they need him to play like the ultimate goaltender is, or they're not going to go very far. And this is already a loss on the road. And, if they don't get it together and they lose another one, there's just no way they're coming back 4 straight on the Stars.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it would have been on the road. They were at home.
But the Stars would be on the road.
Oh, yeah.
Winnipeg at home. That's what I'm saying. So the Stars take another one. Then you've got to go and beat Dallas 4 straight, and you only already gave up 2 home games. So there's no way.
Yeah.
What else we got out there?
Then we've got the Washington Capitals and Carolina Hurricanes. They tied it up. I hear Tom Wilson had a good game. I didn't watch this one. I barely saw highlights. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Washington. I'm sorry, Carolina. It's just, this is what I got in me for you guys.
You know what? I don't even feel bad because of what we've done with this in the last podcast, because I literally watched the Flames Nation the other day and they had Matthew Barnaby on, and they talked about the 3 series, and they all joked about the fact that there's just 3 series going, right? And they're like, I got even friends on some of those teams, and they're like, I still can't care about those teams. So we're not the only guys. Sorry, both teams. We're not trying to downplay
Ovi,
you, but
you know what? Yeah, it is what it is.
But Tom Wilson did have a big game. If there was a highlight of that game, he helped carry them through. But again, I think they're all going to be somewhat close like this. I don't think anybody pullaways, but
I think it was
3 either way.
I think the final was 3-1. Like, it was overtime. The first one 3-1. The second might have been an empty netter. I didn't look. I didn't follow it at all.
Barring a good power play on the road, I feel like Carolina might take both there, but we'll see. They're a pretty good home team.
Yeah, that's true. And then obviously the last series is Toronto and Florida. So since we were recording last, we have another win for Toronto. So they won both at home, right? Hold serve. That's what you're supposed to do. So they won both at home, and now they're playing their first game in Florida tonight, and it is now 4-4 going into overtime. So huge overtime. If they can manage to win it, you're never a lock, but I think teams up 3-0 have won, I want to say, high 90s for percentages over the years. So it's a pretty crazy stat for them. Obviously, this is as far as they've ever been, which was kind of funny to think about in this era, with the core 4 and all of that. Actually winning 2 games in the second round was a new record, and obviously, if they win another one here, that would be. They had to tie it up in the third, so they are coming on, and they're see what happens. But yeah, if they can win this one and go up 3-0, that's going to be a heck of a lead on Florida.
Yeah, and I think they, even if they lose in overtime here and go up 2-1, I just still can't see anything. But the fact is, I've talked about it earlier. You get one type of Bobrovsky, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, I called it earlier. Well, we're just getting nothing but Mr. Hyde. He is absolutely atrocious. He is killing his team. The rest of his team is playing well enough to stay with the Leafs and scoring. They're playing good hockey. They've kept every game close. He's now sitting at an 833 for this game. He had an 825 for last game, and he was probably around the same thing for game 1. That is just no way that a team should even be in any of these games with that save percentage. They're lucky to be where they are. If they don't squeeze something out tonight and get a chance to come back and have him come up with a real big game for game 4, this is a done series.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. I saw the clips when I got home. They scored 23 seconds into the game. Toronto scored. That's you skate down, you shoot it, and you get a shot. Like, you need that guy to step up and do that. So we talked about that right at the beginning, that was probably going to be one of the big stories of this series, and so far it really proves that it has been.
Nope. So we'll see how this overtime turns out. We're gonna probably shout off from here now and then go watch that and see how it goes, and then we'll watch tomorrow night's games, including the Oilers, and get back with you guys then and see where we're all sitting at with all the series.
Oh, Rogers is going to be rocking tomorrow. The moss pit outside, everything's going to be going crazy. It's just going to give him some jam. I want him to go up and push hard and do a good job. And yeah, if they can get up 3-0, same thing. I mean, it's a tough lead to come back from in games. So they got to just work hard and see if they can do it. So it'll be good. All right, I want to thank everybody for listening. Make sure tell your friends and let them know we are here for you guys. We are enjoying this, so it's a good time always. You can find us at www.sportsbuds.com. That's sportsbudz.com, and you can always find us on all our social media, Instagram, Facebook, all of that, as well as all of your normal podcast sites. You've got your Spotify. You've got Apple, you've got Amazon, you've got TuneIn, and now we are on YouTube as well. So make sure you go there, follow us, that you'll get all the content and know exactly when it's coming out. We want to thank you guys for listening. Sips, I want to thank you. Good talk tonight.
Yeah, thanks, Bob. It's been a pretty fantastic playoff so far, and it's been fun talking about it this much. And let's, I'd say, go Leafs, go Oilers, go Jets.
There we go. In that order? Hey? All right, that's fine. We'll see. Go Leafs, go Oilers, go Jets. I would have thought you would go Jets
I
first.
gave the Oilers the middle. That's pretty good.
I was impressed you said them at all. I thought you were going to go Hurricanes.
All right, everybody. Take care.
All right. Thank you very much.